Hi, Miss Yvette. Hi, Christopher. Hi, Miss Angela. Just give me a minute and I'm just, oh, yeah. Please on the heat. Hi, Patricia. And all those who will come on as I continue. So let me just say the pledge. I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I'll honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, my elders, and those in authority. I'll be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. And I'll strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country. Hi, Augusto. Hi, Gloria. Hi, Rena. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Maria. Hi, Rhonda. Hey, you're not easy. You're coming in. Come in. Come in. Come in. Come in. Thank you all always for hanging with me. So let me start this thing right now. So I'm seeing here, excuse me, St. Mary's College. What about St. Mary's College? Well, we are relating to talk. People just want you to feel what they want you to feel. And they just try to tell you how you should feel and the experience you have. Them tell you how you should experience the experience. When I tell you they're bold face, I will tell you what I'm talking about just now. I will tell you what I'm talking about just now. Then we feel them right here. Them alone could support who they want to support. You can't support nobody else. And they want to tell you how you should feel. And the experience you have is not that you have, it's something else. You waste that time at all. Yes? If you know I doesn't like man who doesn't want to pick up a man fight. I read Makome man thing. So let me get this. Let me get this thing, right? Hi, Jennifer. So this had to do with just a minute, let me go back here. On the 17th of June, 2025, this is St. Mary's College. I just saw a little thing from them. They said they celebrated achievements and contributions of students, coaches, staff members, and parents who have been instrumental in the holistic development of our Saints Onward March. So that's good. So St. Mary's College, they are recognized, they have recognized all those who are instrumental in the holistic development of the children there and the children themselves, teachers and all that. And that is good because that helps to boost morale and it brings us closer togetherness and all that within a school. All schools should take pattern from those type of things. You don't have to be prestige to do that. You just have to have people who understand human relation and understand the importance of rewards for when persons do good things. So I'm seeing also that the THA, when I see money, I just say, what is money about? Hi, Kathleen. So I'm seeing the THA. Oh, there's plenty of things I just have to scroll through till I reach it, till I reach where the story that I want to really talk about. Oh, Lord. Hi, everybody. Only lock on. We have things to talk. Don't let nobody try to intimidate or bully you into thinking the way they want them to think. Not even me. And I don't bully nobody to think like how I think. And everybody's free to think how they want to think. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Mary. So I'm saying here, July the 2nd, 2025, THA ordered to pay $4 million to 13 fire contract workers. The Tobago House of Assembly, THA, must pay more than $4 million in compensation to 13 former contract workers dismissed after the 2021 THA elections. The Industrial Court delivered its final order on Monday, giving the THA until the 30th of September 2025 to make the payments. Each worker will receive compensation for outstanding vacation leave, the remainder of their contract, and pro-rated gratuity payout range from just over $151,000 to nearly $400,000, depending on salary, position, and time left on contract. The total comes to $4,017,507.61. I am aligned. This ruling follows the court's 30th April judgment, which found the dismissals harsh and oppressive and contrary to the principles and practices of good industrial relations. 12 workers received termination letters on the 31st of March 2022. The 13th, Dion Winchester, was dismissed on April the 8th, 2022. All were part of the Community Partnership Unit, CPU, in the Office of the Chief Secretary, with some employed since 2009. Roles included field partnership officers, investigation and assessment officers, and administrative support. The Advocate Trade Union filed compensation commutation on the 7th of May, and the THA did not submit objections or counterclaims. The court said, the court is satisfied, therefore, that it can proceed to give its final order in these disputes, since the notice of appeal does not constitute an automatic stay of execution. Although the THA filed a notice of appeal on June 5th, it did not apply for a stay. Speaking earlier in June, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine said, we started the appeal process since last week, and we are confident that this ruling will be overturned. Unless the Court of Appeal rules otherwise or grants a stay, the THA remains legally bound to pay the full amount by the deadline. So let's hope good sense prevails and the THA pay the workers who they would have wronged. Under High Marge, High Ophelia, under the THA and the new secretary at the time, he and so again, Fali Chavez Augustine, and at the time Watson Solomon Joe. So let me continue. So I'm also seeing the state to pay. The state is to pay some, let me get it. No, the state wins legal fees ruling in Piarco Airport case. All ain't go hear they talking about that. Only distraction we getting we in here, nobody talking about this. When I see it, I said, let me look and see if this is a recent thing and not a long time thing. So it says here, 20 hours ago, Guardian, state wins US 17 million legal fee ruling in Piarco Airport case. The legal tab for the US 131 million Piarco Airport judgment granted in favor of this country 2 years ago will be picked up by two supporters of the United National Congress and their Miami counterpart, according to a judgment delivered on May 9th. The judgment comes after Miami Circuit Court Judge Roberto Diaz in May 2023 ordered the businessman Steve Ferguson, former UNC Minister Brian Quaitong, and US businessman Raul Gutierrez Jr. pay this country US 131,308. What was it just now? It just now 131,318,000. Right. So it's $131,318,840.47. The matter is now the subject of appeal. The awarded sum is triple the amount the state requested for damages under U.S. Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Law, that is RICO. The Miami judge found Ferguson liable for fraud linked to the redevelopment of the Piarco International Airport between the late 1990s and early 2000s. Quaitong, a former Minister of Finance under the Basil Pandey administration, and Gutierrez, the former principal of Calmalquip, the whole thing dropped, yes? the whole thing jump and go on. Which part is it? Right. Carl Malquip Engineering Corporation, the company that provided specialized equipment at the airport, were previously held liable in the racketeering case. In assessing costs for legal fees, Diaz found that the men should pay US $17,389,910.93 to the law firms White and Case and Secor. Diaz found that attorneys at both Secor and White and Case, on behalf of the country, completed 38,556,063 hours of work. In total, Secor attorneys racked up US $6,078,770.43, while White and Case earned US $10,509,133.70. His ruling added that the state sought to recover US $802,600,080 cents in costs incurred by both firms. After the initial judgment, Ferguson refused to divulge his assets, resulting in further litigation. Diaz took this into consideration and still issued the order. During his contribution to the mid-year budget debate in the Senate yesterday, Opposition Senator Faris Alwari thanked Attorney General Jeremy John for his work in the matter. In the final judgment was granted to Trinidad and Tobago at $70,389,910.93, and interest accrues on that. That judgment was published to the world on the 9th of May 2025 after the election, Alwari said. So history is going to be in sharp focus because it really is quite remarkable that why he kissing up this man also? This is my opinion. So history is going to be in sharp focus because it really is quite remarkable that the Honorable Attorney General has the pleasure of concluding that work. And I am sure we are in good hands because that kind of licks that Honorable Attorney General took, for that matter, is unprecedented. But yet that same Attorney General joined the UNC, right? So you're not hearing nothing much about that. You ain't hearing what Steve Ferguson had to pay back this country for legal fees. You remember Kamala Prasad-Bissessar said that the Piaco airport incident was a big hoax and it was a witch hunt for the PNM. Although people made jail for that already in America, you know what they call it? Fraud, corruption. So one of the two persons died, Steve Ferguson and Ish Galbraith Singh died, God rest his soul. We have Ferguson here still. But you ain't hear nobody talking about that. Let me continue. So I'm seeing Kamala Prasad-Bissessar is saying that she has deep concerns over the independent senators. And I want to know why. Because there always used to be independent senators. When the last time when PNM was in office, it had independent senators. I didn't see the share no big concern. When UNC was in office in 2010-15, I didn't see no concern. So is it the new trend now is you have to agree with everything the opposition say, or the PNM say, or the UNC say, or the government say, and if you don't, it means that somehow you're one-sided that you don't have a valid argument or you don't have a valid opinion. That is what it reached to now. And here it is alleged that Kirk Mayhew say it is alleged that independent senators do like there is nothing called independent senator. But I seen on his resume, he put former independent senator. So let me tell you something, These people tongue forked. FORKD, like a snake fork tongue, and they just talk on two sides of their mouth depending on where they stand. And if you don't keep your thoughts together or you don't keep the issues and them coming and flowing, let me tell you something, or they will get caught up in all the lies. Get the proper information. Don't just take chain up to because we know history has shown that the UNC does lie and lie bad. So let me continue. So this one independent senator, he's letting them know straight up. Only go try them stupidness with me at all. I ain't taking that senator, I think it's Vera is his name. He ain't taking all that abuse apparently from them and what they're doing. And I think he's very correct. Don't take it from nobody, whether opposition or government. So Senator Vera, hi Diamond, Trini Jewels, hi Jackie, hi Joycelyn. Independent senator wants parliament to take action against UNCPRO. This was 20 hours ago in The Guardian. It says that independent senator Anthony Vera says he's contemplating having United National Congress UNCPRO doc into Dr. Kurt Mayhew brought before Parliament for contempt and bringing criminal proceeding against him. Vera said Mayhew seems to be inviting us to test the limits of parliamentary power and privileges, and I'm inclined to take up his invitation. Good for you, sir. The tough response from Vera came after Mayhew continued his verbal attacks on him, even after his stern warning from Senate President Wade Mark that intimidation and harassment of independents would not be taken lightly. It also came after 5 independent senators voted in support of the Prime Minister's Pension Amendment Bill 2025, giving government the required 3/5 majority. The legislation which effectively blocks former Prime Minister Stuart Young from receiving a $1 million pension sparked heated debate on Monday. Young served as Prime Minister for 42 days from March 17 to April 28 after the resignation of Dr. Keith Rowley. The bill is retroactive from March 10, 2025. Yesterday, Mayhew issued a 3-page press release calling independent Senator Anthony Vera a disgrace and accusing him of shameless bias. Vera, who abstained from Monday's vote, fired back saying, I have made efforts by speaking with members of the government bench to see if a diplomatic or amicable resolution. But I get the impression that Mr. Mayhew is a bull in a china shop that listens to no one. Vera added that he is now ready to explore other options to address Mayhew's attacks. I'm disappointed that Mayhew has completely ignored the president of the Senate ruling yesterday. It's not even 24 hours old. I'm concerned not just for myself, but my fellow independents. As such, I am weighing my options, including calling him before the Privileges Committee for contempt of Parliament and bringing criminal proceeding against him for breach of Section 10B of the House of Representative Powers and Privileges Act. He added, the constant enduring effort to cast a certain narrative that's propaganda is pathetic and disgusting, Vera said. He added, the tone and content of the commentary have been intimidatory, with suggestions that if we vote in a certain way, we should face public excoriation. Papa. That is unjustified, unwarranted, and in my view, misguided. He also called for greater respect for independent senators, noting that they have taken on the daunting task of national service with sophisticated, well-researched and eloquent contribution to the upper house. Independent Senator Courtney McNeish also defended his vote, making it clear external commentary did not influence his decision to vote with the government. I felt no pressure, none at all. Nothing Mr. Mayhew or anyone else could say could bully me. I will not be pressured. I will go to my conscience and always look for the truth and try to determine the best way for the country, he said during a telephone interview yesterday. Meanwhile, political scientist Dr. Vishnu Raghunath believes the senators voted with conviction and rubbish assertions that they may have been coerced or manipulated. He also said the opposition decision to abstain from voting was likely a strategic move. They came there with that perception that this kind of taxpayers' money that you cannot simply be disbursing at. I mean, without any accountability and transparency and so on. So I think that their perception or the perspective had nothing to do with what Kurt Mayhew may have said. He also said opposition decision to abstain from voting was likely a strategic move. Raghunath believed it reflected an internal balancing act, respect for a former colleague, weighing against growing public outrage, even from PNM supporters, over what may be seen as excessive payout to Young. So why they couldn't just say no? Why they couldn't just say no? Where's the big scene? They couldn't say no. Anywho, let me continue. Seeing that hi Hollis, hi Hadara, I am seeing that the new Minister of Trade and Industry, he's convinced he has the formula to make monies and diversify the economy from oil and gas. He's convinced he's got it down and he's going to, Carnival is the way to do it. So he's going to do that. I think he was the managing director of Sasha Cosmetics, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see how that goes. From the time you started to talk about I just started saying, Hi, Julian. So it says here, hi, fellow bounce up people, don't worry, I comment all just now by using my phone to do my research as soon as I'm finished. So this was the 1st of July 2025, TTT Live. Trade Minister pledges bold action to reboot economy. Minister of Trade, Industry and Tourism, Senator Satyakarma Maharaj is resolute in his commitment to transforming the country's economic outlook through innovation and diversification. Noting that the narrative for many years centered around this country's thrust to diversify the economy from oil and gas sector, Minister Maharaj aimed to do this successfully through competent leadership and innovation, using the resources already available to make Trinidad and Tobago more attractive to foreign businesses. Our focus is on generating national revenue, earnings, and preserving foreign exchange, and attracting both local and foreign investment. We are committed to supporting and strengthening local businesses and institutions, creating meaningful and sustainable jobs, while advancing our technological capacity and skill development. That sounds like something we have heard over and over and over and over again. It does not sound new. That's my opinion. Minister Maharaj said that there is no evidence that the previous government made efforts toward diversification of the country's economy. He said his ministry inherited a discontented business sector and an environment not conducive to good private sector relations. This, he said, will be addressed in the short term. Succeeding in this, the minister said, we will see Trinidad and Tobago graduate to first world status. Economic indicators are spiraling downwards. That is not what Moody and the IMF would have said so. I don't know where they just get their indicators from. Economic indicators are spiraling downwards. That's the reality. I'm not here for theater or for graphics or branding. I'm here to tell you what the reality is. We can either continue heading on the downward direction and becoming a nation of traders and a failed state. Well, I would like to talk about this failed state, so. Or we can change course and steer our country towards first world status with some other behavior. Highlighting the Tobago tourism industry and Trinidad's Carnival as examples of avenues that will be explored to bolster the economy, Minister Maharaj said it is not business as usual and bold steps will be taken to ensure long-term growth. With bold leadership, strategic clarity, and unified national action, we will secure her economic future, not only for today, but for generations to come. Minister Maharaj promised that a major project in the pipeline will transform the economic landscape, changing economic trajectory in a positive direction. I want to tell you, Minister, with all due respect, this is not a company, this is a country. So what you might think may be easy to do with a company, you may not find it the same way with a country. And stop talking about failed state, please. You'll always come with these negative connotations. Yeah? And I think I would have heard him say something to the effect that Petrotrin was earning money, basically like saying something to the effect that the government lied about Petrotrin and all that. I don't think the government said Petrotrin earning money, no. They said Petrotrin was in debt. Well, of course I was earning money, break even. And even Professor Gosign agreed that the government made the best choice when it closed on Petrotrin, because Petrotrin was owing the state billions of dollars. Yes, they're making money. Yeah, but see, you're working in a place where the money just breaking even. But money is making, it's not that the money stopped making. But what is the purpose of buying 100 and how much thousand barrel of crude oil on the open market every month to bring to Petrotrin, to put it over the 50,000 barrels they get in here from free independent drillers. And then now you have additional costs in refining. And when you're done refining, you have to find market outside to sell it. Of course, you'll make money, but is it sufficient enough? And then have to pay a workforce 50-something% of the money, which is higher than other international refineries who pay about 34% or 35%. We pay like 50-something%. So come now, man. I don't think the PNM government ever said that Petrotrin ain't making money. The money it was making couldn't cover the debts they had. Hence the closure. And then we had Heritage, we have Paria, and that other thing. And Heritage is now making back money. That is the exploration and production side of it. They're making back money, and that money is paying off the refinery debt. So come now, when all they talking, talk the whole truth now. Don't just talk piece of thing now, man. You will still like all if we had to like all, yeah? So I'm seeing that they removed the security. Hi, Lorna. Hi, Helen. The security details for former Prime Minister Stuart Young and former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. And this was 4 hours ago in the Express. It says the decision to remove personal security details from former Prime Minister Stuart Young and Dr. Keith Rowley came after a threat assessment was presented to the government by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. This was revealed by Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander speaking with the Express Wednesday. Alexander emphasized that while the removal of Young's detail may have been within a day of the government passing legislation that removed the former Prime Minister's pension, the two were not connected. This decision has nothing to do with the bill being passed. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the former Rowley detail was removed about a week ago. So it was just coincidental that the former Young was done yesterday, Tuesday. Basically, there was a threat assessment done on former Prime Minister Young and the former Prime Minister Rowley, which was done by the police. In this assessment, it was determined that the PSD, like personal security detail, for both men were no longer necessary, he said. He continued, any threat against them, if you put it like that, no longer exists. And now, these men from the PSD can now be placed elsewhere and for other work, whether for mobile patrol, foot patrol, in other units, or even as PSD for other VIPs. Your entitlement is your entitlement, yes, but at the end of the day, when these assessments are made in keeping with the police operating procedures, that we have to abide by that. While he acknowledged the optics of this decision being made following the passing of the bill, he noted that the government had made a decision based on the information provided to them by the police service and there was no ulterior motive. The government is not putting our hands into these things. We are allowing the institution responsible to do their job and report back to us. And then we will make decisions on that information that came from those institutions. And it's based on the information returned to us, we treat it with a certain manner and certain decisions were made. But it has nothing to do with the bill being passed. I would have seen the assessment being done for some time now and would have been made aware of its content even before the bill was passed, and this has been in motion, Alexander said. He's very repetitive, but okay, so he said that there. I said, okay. All right. Okay, dokes, he said the police did an assessment, and it's just coincidental that just a day after they passed the amendment bill for the pension to the Prime Minister, that they stopped the security. Okay. So I'm seeing this here. Yeah. Give me a minute. Just now, okay, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that. Where do you think? Where do you think I go on? Where do you think I go on? Well, let me give me a minute. Right. So this here is CNC3 news, and it says Gardemida understands that Young was in a meeting in his constituency when officers of the Trinidad Police Service Special Branch received a call indicating that they were no longer assigned to Young's detail. The security reportedly gave Young a ride home first before wrapping up their operation with him. Yes, this happened suddenly today. Young said yesterday when contacted by Garden Media. I received a call informing me that Cabinet took a decision to pull all security extended to me as former Prime Minister. I was told that the current Cabinet has decided to immediately end what was being provided for both me and former Prime Minister Keith Rowley. I received a notification while I was seeing constituents at my constituency office on Office Day. Young said there was an existing cabinet decision, which he said applied for decades, that provided limited security to former prime ministers and presidents for a period of 3 months and 6 months. A senior cabinet official confirmed the move. They said Young's detail would have ended in July 28, 3 months ago, after he demitted office after April 28th general election. However, the source said threat assessments are regularly conducted and that later showed there was no need for Young's detail to be continued. The exigency of the police service would require the police to do an assessment on any individual, and the time would have come that there is no threat against the individual, the source said. At that level, according to assessment done, the police officers can pull these officers from any detail and place them back into the streets or attach them to someone else. Contacted for comment on the move yesterday, listen to this part, Police Commissioner Alistair Guerrero, when asked to confirm whether he received the instruction from the government, said simply, I can confirm. When asked if he knew about Cabinet's protocol, he said, I cannot speak to the Cabinet protocol. However, once lawful directives are given, as what occurred in this instance, I acted with promptitude. So you know what he's saying there? They were saying that the police service did an assessment and saw that there was no threat. The police commissioner, from what I read in saying, he got a directive from cabinet. It was nothing to do with no assessment done by the police service. That is what I'm reading here. Former PM Rowley also uses detail. Former Prime Minister Rowley also confirmed yesterday that his security detail was pulled about a week ago. During his time as opposition leader, Dr. Rowley's state security detail was removed under then National Security Minister John Sandy and later reinstated by Minister Gary Griffith, who decided to provide him with a security detail. That detail stayed with Rowley until he became Prime Minister. Then he was assigned a special branch detail. Certain special branch details are specifically assigned to the Prime Minister on general election night of 2010, 15, and now 2025. When it was known the incumbent Prime Ministers would have lost the election, certain members of the detail left almost immediately to protect the Prime Minister-elect. Following Rowley's return to private life, officers assigned to protect him from a nearby mobile police post had raised public complaints about the poor conditions that they were working under. They complained that the van, which was parked meters from the former Prime Minister's Goodwood Park residence, was derelict, with no functioning door, no running water, no proper ventilation, and only receiving electricity through an extension cord from the house. Gardemida understands. In response to the officer's complaint, former Prime Minister reportedly asked that the post be removed altogether. So Cabinet has nothing to do now other than to see who get bus route pass and who security to remove. In my time, it was the police that did threat assessment and determined what level of security to provide to citizens, especially public officials, Dr. Rowley said. But if that function is now being carried out by cabinet, then that must be the new win. If it is decided that the current opposition leader has a greater risk than the last prime minister, then so be it. Guardian Media understands opposition leader Penelope Beckers still has her official state-provided security detail. Dr. Rowley, however, said he is unbothered by these developments. I'm not taking on any of them as they carry out their various actions and statements. I remain a proud citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, one who contributed to national development that they could never take away, and therein lies my joy and satisfaction. Thank you for your service, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. And as I am on that topic with Prime Ministers, today is the anniversary of the death of our former Prime Minister Patrick Manning. So to his family, sending love and shout out from the Levy Talk, the Ting peeps. So the continues. So this was the situation with the CPEP workers. It ain't going nowhere really. And instead of the treat with the situation up front and straight up, they all kind of singing talk. And my thing is this. If they are saying, if PM2 Padarat is saying that there's so much corruption with the contracts and the contracts, what that has to do with the workers, because the contracts given to the contractors, that is between the management of, if it's CPEP or whatever, and I think there has to be a procurement situation and things, sending their stuff. So they get a contract and they hire their workers. Why must the workers suffer for the contractors who all they say get contracts illegally? Not only that, this conversation about those 10,000 CPEP workers will be reemployed, to me, it is not realistic, simply because if you're going to take new contractors on, because you all said these contractors have illegal contracts, that's how I'm reading it, and it's the contractors who hire their workers, why would another contractor who get a contract hire back any of the 10,000 people or 30 from them to work with them? That contractor may not have his own quote-unquote people to work. So when you tell those 10,000 persons they will be reabsorbed into CPEP, stop, in my opinion, giving people false hope. Because a new contractor is under no obligation to hire nobody from them 10,000 people. That is one thing. Two, I'm seeing that the CPEP workers, or before I go there, they're saying that it is illegal and they get a contract, it was illegal, and the PNM get a friend and family, all that. I'm going to read this again. June the 3rd, 2016, Daily Express. Former line minister in charge of CPEP, Dr. Rudan Munilal, has denied any wrongdoing in the granting of contracts in the last days just before the September 2015 general election. Munilal also found nothing wrong in delivering contracts on the day of the general election. It is a working day just like any other, he said in a telephone interview yesterday. He clarified that no new contracts were given, but that existing monthly contracts were changed to 3-year contracts. It gave the contractor a measure of security and protection, he said, adding that CPEP now has to honor those written contracts. Munilal said the change from monthly to 3-year contract gave the contractors an incentive to pay health surcharge and contributions on behalf of their employees. The change also allowed contractors to invest in equipment and gears for their employees, Munilal said. He said the former board, in updating the monthly contracts, was following Cabinet's directive and not acting on its own. Munilal said reports that the former administration hastily awarded contracts in the run-up to the elections is nothing more than an attempt to paint the People's Partnership in a bad light. With regards to Dr. Balgobin Consultancy and CPEP, Munilal said he was not surprised and whatever, but my main contention is this. Dr. Munilal, when accused, because he was the line minister in CPED, of giving contracts days before the general election 2015 and on the day of the general election 2015, he found nothing wrong with that. He felt that it was empowering the contractors and that when they get these 3-year contracts, the government or CPEP have to honor these contracts. He saw it as incentives. He didn't see it as corruption. So now, if they are saying that the PNM before the April 28th general election would have given contracts to contractors, then how could there be corruption all of a sudden? And they're only talking about audit and audit, but while you're auditing, what that has to do with the workers? Audit the company and via the contracts, what that has to do with the workers. So you see, they're sending mixed messages. When they do it, it is not corruption, it is helping the people. If PNM want to do it, it is corruption. And that is why I don't see nobody talking about these things. Where is the PNM social media officer, the PRO, the communication person? Are they going to say they were just installed on Sunday? But what have they been doing from 2015, 20, 20 to 25? Right? Putting all these informations out there so people will be more informed. I'm asking, is it that they have been working silently in the back all the time? Undermining, I'm asking a question, undermining Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. I'm just waiting. I'm just asking. Because a lot of things that you all know and only know it for a fact, a lot of things that you all know is what only learned from Dominic Romain on his show, Facts Are Stubborn Things, on the Debunking page, Debunking UNC Lies with Truth. Several persons would have made lives. Me and Levy talk the thing. From listening to radio to persons calling in, I am sure a lot of you guys where you all got the information from, you wasn't getting it from the social media officer of the PNM, the PRO of the PNM, the education officer of the PNM, or the communication minister of the PNM. So let me continue. So as I was saying, so that is where we at with this thing. So I'm seeing that CPEP workers, they are marching. I have done several marches in my time, so I wouldn't begrudge nobody marching for what is right. And then there was this one where they were speaking to a young lady.
Hi, good morning. I'm Taryn Perryman. I used to work CPEP. It's No more. I would like to get an answer of what and when and why. Why they do us that? Because they know that we are poor people in this country. We have lives too. We have bills too, right? We have a lot of things that we have to, I have a mortgage to pay for, I have grandchildren to see about, child to see about, right? It's very hard. Today or tomorrow, Tiante come and tell me I have my life bill to pay. I don't know how I pay that, right? It is too unbearing. They need to give us a proper answer why and how we get it back to work and why they even do us that in the first place.
So the government said that CPET is riddled with corruption in that a lot of contracts would have been issued without proper protocol, and some of the contracts were not valid, right? So they're also saying that the workers are going to be rehired and you're going to be getting 1 month's salary. Are you satisfied with that?
No, I'm not, because they say that we'll be rehired, but when? If you could tell me again 1 month salary, after that 1 month salary, what you'll be telling me again? Nothing? No, that is unacceptable.
So what would you like?
I would like to know when I get back my job, because I have to live on that. I can't go to Tiantec and say, sorry, I lost my job, I can't pay it today.
They said that after an investigation is done, an audit has to be done on false contracts and so on, and pending that, the workers are going to be rehired once everything, all the contracts are above board. Are you satisfied with that?
Well, it's just that they have to do for me to get back my job. I don't have no problem with that. And my contract is supposed to be safe like Selassie I before. Yeah, so everything's supposed to be compensated. But please, don't let it be a long, lingering process, because they'll have to do that. It will happen today, it will happen tomorrow, I will happen now.
So that the CPEP workers, they are protesting. And understand that PM2, who seem to have no problem with them calling them the butcher, is saying that the workers going to get 1 month salary. You know what I picture this as? This is my opinion I'm giving. You know, abuser, abusing you all the time, right? Physically or verbally or whatever. And then one day they show you some kindness. And then after the kindness, a couple of days pass, and they start back the behavior. Because every time I tell yourself they go change, they start back the behavior. And after a while, there are some people, if they're not confident enough, they don't have that support, they start to look at if it's them fault why the person treating them so. So you'll find that the man started again or the woman started again, well, it's really my fault to not put too much salt in the food, or I didn't do this, I didn't press the clothes. They start to look at themselves and say it's because of them why the people treating them so. In my opinion, I think that is how PM2 behaving. Like he get a touch of power. You hear the name, he hold on to the butcher. He cutting people work, firing people. He's in charge. And he will have people out there crying, and then he say, all right, I will give a little something. And then after, oh God, thank you so much, thank you so much. And after a while, they start to, oh God, he's a good man, he's a good woman, he's a good man, and that kind of thing. That is how I'm seeing this whole thing. It's about being the abuser, and then turn around and be the hero. And then the person now is the victim saying, is because of me why this happened to me. That's just how I see this thing playing out. So let me continue. So after the people march and they cry, they see the woman come out as an African woman, because in my opinion, they love to see, African people coming to say we poor, we hungry, we training and nothing, and what we go do and all that. To me, like it give them some sense of superiority or something. So that's why I say sometimes, some people who behave in that way, I'm giving an opinion here, it's really people who have insecurity issues or inferiority issues, and they mask it, pretending that they're more superior than others. So then they become abusive when they're in position of power. because they really don't feel they deserve what they're doing, the work they're in, but they have to put on this external facade, and they become abusive with it to people who they tell themselves seeing them for who they are. So I will make them suffer. I will make them get. Listen to Khadija Amin.
Mr. Speaker, it had plenty people who vote for me who work CPEP because I see them in the red jersey, but they voted for the UNC and
so what it is she telling people? Plenty of them who vote for she, St. Augustine, they run a PNM job, but they vote for she and vote for the UNC. So all they take, all they run PNM jersey, all this PNM, all they vote for me, take while giving all they know. Take it, because what is the purpose? What is the purpose of her mentioning that? If it is even true. It's a more humiliation of people who they feel are PNM people because he's African, so he's a PNM person, so jam them. Abuse them, because for 10 years all they vote for PNM, we back in office now, we go deal with all you. That's my opinion, that's how this song in. What is reinforcing, again, what I'm saying, listen to Clyde Elder, man, was the president of communication workers. He's now a part of the employer class. You see all them union, men and them, or women and them who get into the politics, the same bourgeoisie class. They used to be turning up the nose on and say the bourgeoisie class, going over to the largest of the country, and while they're throwing crumbs to the workers, it's the same bourgeoisie class they go on and join, and then become the ones who throwing crumbs also now for workers. Because now they are part of the governance structure. They're going with government policy. They don't care about workers again. They will not stand up against the government and the government policy to help no worker. They listen to Clyde Elder, who was just recently the president of communication workers. In the midst of the controversy surrounding the government's abrupt dismissal of hundreds of community-based environmental protection and enhancement program CPEP contractors affecting over 10,000 workers, a particularly shocking comment emerged from the Member of Parliament for Loughborough, Clyde Elder, a former union leader and now a minister in the Ministry of Public Utilities. In defense of the government he currently represents, Elder described the thousands of dismissed workers as collateral damage. You know, this dirty stink. That's why I started to call them dirty and stink. Because when you was a president representing workers, any government that do workers, that you was never going to be talking how we're talking now. But you're in government now, you don't care. But the Loughborough people, you don't care about Maruga people. You don't care about Tableland people. You don't care about poor people no more. All of a sudden, there's collateral damage. Collateral damage for who? Them in have no contract. It's not them get a contractor, no contract. So why they must suffer? And you're proud. This, yeah, oh, that's something to tell the Most High Jah. Woo! Let me read it again. In defense of the government he currently represents, Elder described the thousands of dismissed workers as collateral damage in the administration attempt to rectify what they perceive as a wrongdoing by the former People's National Movement. So they're punishing people. The same people are punishing them. Then saying, when elephants fight, the grass gets trampled is highly applicable in this case. That is highly disrespectful for their dirtiness. You, Clyde Elder, I say so you're a dirtiness because you was a union leader. And nobody can talk them thing to you when you was a union leader. No employer could have talk them thing to you. But today, you was an employer. You see how your mouth twists? Or that's something to tell the Most High Jah, boy. Or you're wicked. I say so. We do not advocate for the previous government. In fact, we commend the new administration for pursuing any instances of mismanagement or maladministration maladministration by the PNM and attempting to reform CPEP. Rural Munilal said he saw nothing wrong on the day of election given contracts to CPEP contractors. He said he saw nothing wrong in days before the general election giving contracts, renewing contracts to CPEP contractors. He found it to be a way of protecting them, and that the next government or whoever had to honor those contracts. He see that as something empowering them. He didn't see it as corruption. If this entails taking action against what the current government perceive as improper contractor hiring at CPEP, then it's not only has the authority to proceed, but to do so with dispatch. The problem lies in the fact that execution of this plan did not seem very well thought out, with some last-minute decision now being taken to alleviate some of the woes highlighted by workers on Monday after it hit home. They were now unemployed. So this is what the person who wrote the story saying, right? While the public was engaged with the government advocacy for a bill in Parliament to address the extravagant lifetime pension that former Prime Minister Stuart Young would have received after serving only 6 weeks in office last Friday, contractors were being summoned to CPEP St. Margaret's headquarters to receive their dismissal letters. It appeared that no thought was given to the fact that this action was jeopardizing the livelihoods of thousands of innocent workers who had no involvement in any of the wrongful activities the former regime is accused of. In fact, the workers were merely fulfilling the task that they were hired to do in order to provide for their families. Rather than implementing a well-structured and strategic plan that would have directly addressed the contractors' issues while protecting those beneath them. However, there has been a haphazard approach that adversely affected some of the nation's lowest income earners. As an individual who have devoted much of his professional career to advocating for workers' rights, it is therefore disheartening to see how swiftly Minister Elder has made a significant ideological shift, demonstrating a stark lack of compassion for those bearing the brunt of his government's inadequate management of this situation. Although we anticipate that the Public Service Association will support government in this initiative, given its current alignment with the administration, the silence from other trade unions regarding these issues conveys a powerful message to workers about what they can expect from the labor sector going forward. National Trade Union General Secretary Head Michael Anisette stands apart in this regard as the only union leader calling on government to urgently address the issue for the benefit of those genuine individuals with serious economic concerns, the ones whom Minister Elder has already summarily dismissed as insignificant in the current exercise. Minister Elder needs to recall the campaign slogan of his own government, which asserted that when the UNC wins, everybody wins, and asked himself if CPEP contractors and workers would find truth in that assertion. I am not a fan of Michael Anisette at all, but I want to tell him thanks for finding conscience and a heart in this issue to speak out about what's happening to the CPEP workers. And I also think he would have spoken out about the composition of the boards, government boards, right? He didn't want no thanks from me, but it was good of him to stand out and speak out when everybody else stays silent. And I want to read again what it is Clyde Elder was a president of a union. Now that he's in the government and getting government money, he's a part of the bourgeoisie class now, so he don't care what no worker. As far as he's concerned, he could spit on them because there's nothing. This is what he's saying it again. In defense of the government he currently represents, like Clive Elder, hear what he said. Elder described the thousands of dismissed workers as collateral damage in the administration attempt to rectify what they perceive as a wrongdoing by the former People's National Movement government. The saying, when elephants fight, the grass gets trampled, is highly applicable in this case. That is what Clyde Elder. I feel sorry and empathy for workers in this country. Which union is going to stand up to protect their rights? The Public Services Association is doing nothing to protect the rights of public servants. They've only been concerned with WASA workers, which is their right because them come from WASA, and the TTRA bill to make sure those two bills, the TTRA bill is done away with, and that WASA, there's no more restructuring. But when it comes to the general public service, they don't care. So who is going to stand in defense of public officers and workers against any government? There's nobody there. PSA members are less satisfied with what is happening. I would not put it past this government to decertify the PSA with the help of Felicia Thomas. But I want to tell Felicia Thomas and Leroy Baptiste and them something. The gods will not be kind and holy. I don't know what God will let us pray to. But the true living God will not be kind and holy. And just the same I used to say about was in Solomon Jew. When people see all they will feel sorry for all because of the wickedness or they went around telling public officers, vote for the UNC. They will get to start a negotiation at 10%. Public officers somehow they fall for that stupidness. I was making videos and telling all them, Leroy Baptiste, it is alleged he's going to be offered a senator position to become Minister of Labor. I was telling all that all it cost me. I tell all it better the PSA to take the 4% for them periods and go on because Duke would have gotten a percentage for the period 2014 to 16. He told us that in 2019. He refused to tell us what the percentage was. We heard on the grapevine it was 9%. He refused that because he was getting himself busy into the THA as a minority leader, and then he formed his own party. So he was a politician. He didn't care about nothing with public officer because to take that percentage would make the government look good, and he wanted to be a part of the governance structure. And we continue from there. Leroy Baptiste was a consultant under Duke. He didn't advise you to take the money. He didn't advise you to go and sit in front of the CPO and negotiate in good faith. They were up and down running the political game. I tell you, better we take the 4%, settle off that, and then take the 5% that was offered for the period 2020 to 23. People cost me, they cost, and they more cost. Now what are they getting? Felicia Thomas is the president. She's a jackass. She can't solve a case. She can't stand and defend nobody in any case they have as a public officer. She backbone was Leroy Baptiste. Now he's a member of the government. And just like Elder, them don't care about no workers because about their government policy. Because you hear what Elder said, when elephant fighting, the grass does get trampled. Where public officers is today, still on 2013 salary. And some of them still costing me. Still on 2013 salary. Let me continue. So the next thing on the agenda is the visit by the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi. And some people is moving as though Kamala Prasad did so much that now the Prime Minister of India is coming to Trinidad. As if those things are happening a month or 2 months, because I understand that Prime Minister Modi is going to several countries while coming here, right? So let me just play this here. We'll get into this. We'll get into it.
Minister said he looked forward to his exchanges aimed at further deepening the historical ties, opening up new windows of cooperation in the areas of energy, health, security, capacity building, and development partnership. The Prime Minister will also address the Parliament of Ghana.
is the first high-level visit by an Indian Prime Minister in 30 years, signaling a renewed focus on Africa.
There will be delegation-level talks, during which the bilateral relations will be reviewed and also discuss various ways to strengthen and deepen bilateral relations. Honorable Prime Minister will have a one-on-one meeting with his counterpart. Then there will be a banquet dinner in honor of Honorable Prime Minister. The next day, Prime Minister will be addressing the Parliament, and he also will be interacting with the Indian community there, which is about 15,000 in number.
Trade and investment and development cooperation are the key pillars of India-Ghana relations. Leaders from both nations are expected to explore new areas for collaboration with a strong focus on economic growth and inclusive partnership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also address Ghana's parliament in this trip.
During the visit, there will be few focus items, will be agriculture, where the Ghanaian leader, the president, is keen to engage with India. He is also keen on the vaccine development, creating a vaccine hub in Ghana, but not just Ghana, but also the West Africa context. Defense cooperation will become an important item on the agenda, and the critical minerals and the digital public infrastructure.
Modi's visit aims to elevate bilateral cooperation across strategic sectors and reaffirm India's commitment to the global south. The visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi aims to deepen ties across key sectors, including economy, energy, defense, and development cooperation, marking a significant diplomatic push in Ghana and a common vision for both India and Ghana for the global south. With camera person Rakesh, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for GD India from Accra, Ghana.
Right.
And here is Tapas again with how Ghanaian newspapers are covering the Indian Prime Minister's visit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set for a...
Right, so he's going to Ghana. So those things that have been said before, you can until we come up with services. So I'll give you the positive side and I'll go into the other side, right? This is not the first time that Prime Minister Modi would have interacted with a Prime Minister of this country. Listen to this, because I want to make it seem as it's Kamala.
And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks with Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Rowley. This happened on the sidelines of the second India CARICOM summit in Georgetown, Guyana. Both leaders held talks on a number of issues, and we could see that some MOUs were also exchanged and signed. There, and we can see that India has been a global advocate for the global south, and as a result of that, India is finding itself, speaking a lot with global south countries these days.
Right, so since Dr. Rowley's tenure, there has been bilateral talks with President Modi, Trinidad and Tobago, and CARICOM and the Caribbean, right? What I think may be causing a lot of contention. So I played for you his Prime Minister Modi's visit to Ghana. I didn't hear them mention they're going to give him the highest award at that Ghana. I didn't hear they say they're shutting down school and government office. I didn't hear all those things. They're going to have a banquet, which is normal, a banquet and this, and they address the parliament and all. Right, okay. This government is going to be given Prime Minister Moody the highest award, the Order of Trinidad and Tobago, to Prime Minister Moody. And people are saying they don't understand why. Excuse me. Also, circulars were sent out from all permanent secretary to the Prime Minister, to all the permanent secretary in the Prime Minister office and acting, excuse me, to all permanent secretaries and heads of department dated July the 1st, 2025. Subject: closure of government offices for scheduled visit of the Honorable Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago on the 3rd of July 2025. Please be advised that the Honorable Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, is scheduled to visit the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago from July the 3rd, 2025 to July the 4th, 2025, in an effort to ensure that consideration is given for the highest levels of security and to mitigate against any inherent risk associated with the visit. The Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, SCMP, Shigeshi Silk, Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago, has agreed to the closure of all non-essential government offices and the dismissal of all educational institutions in Trinidad only from 1 p.m. on Thursday, the 3rd July 2025. The operation of all essential services, including emergency, health and security services, are expected to function as usual. Your usual cooperation is appreciated. When Barack Obama, the first African American president of the largest free world in this largest president of the free world, came to Trinidad, I can remember school having to close, office had to close, government places had to close. You get a no order, Trinidad and Tobago. I can remember that. Anyhow, my memory could be wrong. So that memorandum went out to education officer, principal, ECC primary secondary school, schools 1, July the 1st, 2025, early dismissal of Prime Minister of India to responded to them, summed up everything that I was going to look for, but I put it there because that's the other side of situation that happens in India under President Modi, not me, say, right? So the Anujam Sunat Al Jamaat Association, ASHA, has confirmed that it will send a formal letter of concern to both the Office of the Prime Minister and the Indian High Commission, opposing the state visit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In a response to questions sent to ASHA General Secretary Rahimul Hussain by Guardian Media yesterday, the association said it has a deep and principled concern over the government's decision to officially welcome India, but widely criticize human rights record. ASHA said that it had no problem to diplomatic engagement in principle, but strongly objected to what it views as the legitimization of a figure whose government has emboldened religious intolerance in India. As said, we cannot ignore Mr. Modi's political legacy and its ramifications years, including the 2019 Citizenship Amendment Act, CCA, which is described as a discriminatory to Muslims, and the revocation of Kashmir's special status, which was followed by what it called a military lockdown of a Muslim majority region. ASHA also cited Modi's role in the 2002 Gujarat riots, during which time more than 1,000 Muslim citizens were killed while he served as chief minister. His administration was accused of complicity and deliberate inaction by both domestic and international observers, ASHA said, noting that despite India's Supreme Court clearing Modi of wrongdoing in 2022, human rights watchdogs and political figures globally, including British MPs such as Imran Hussain and Naz Shah, have continued to raise alarm over the lack of justice. Asked whether the association saw the visit as an opportunity for engagement or interfaith dialogue, ASHA replied, while we welcome engagement grounded in honesty and human dignity, Prime Minister Modi's track record does not reflect a commitment to interfaith harmony, but rather the propagation of Hindutva ideology, a political philosophy which has often regarded Indian Muslims as outsiders. ASHA said internal consultations are ongoing and it intends to engage civil society during a public forum on Islamophobia and religious freedom. To the Muslim community, ASHA said, this visit should not weaken our faith or sense of identity. It should strengthen our commitment to justice. Modi will be awarded the Order of Trinidad and Tobago, or RTT, the nation's highest honor, during his visit, the Office of the Prime Minister confirmed yesterday. Meanwhile, all schools have been advised to be closed by 11:30 tomorrow to facilitate Modi's visit to Trinidad. The Education Ministry said early dismissal will assist in reduction of traffic. So then I told you that somebody would have responded on Facebook to somebody talking some foolishness. And this is what they say. And I thought this summed it up. This is the negative side of what has been stated about, oh gosh, when you're looking for things, it must be right there, and then when you're looking for it, you don't find it right. So somebody said, this is a post I would have taken off of Facebook, said, if you're so confused or pretending not to understand why there's outrage over Modi, here's a reminder. One, Modi was chief minister during the 2002 Gujarat massacre. Over 1,000 Muslims were slaughtered, women raped, homes torched. Modi was accused of looking the other way or worse. That's not allegation, that's documented history. Two, he pushed the Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, a law that makes being a Muslim a disqualifier for citizenship. Imagine that happening here in Trinidad, how would he react? The NRC left thousands of Muslims stateless. Modi's government demanded documentation and then rejected Muslim identity papers. Many ended up in detention centers. 4. He stripped Kashmir of its rights. Jammu and Kashmir, a Muslim-majority state, was locked down, internet cut, and soldiers flooded the street. No consultation, just pure authoritarianism. 5. He stayed silent while Muslims are lynched, while vigilantes have killed Muslim men in broad daylight, filmed it, and the government stays quiet. Not once has Modi firmly condemned it. 6. Muslim homes are being bulldozed without trial. Protests. Modi's state government are using bulldozer justice as collective punishment. 7. His party openly spreads hate. BJP members and allies call for violence against Muslims in rallies. No apology, no consequences. Silence is approval. 8. Muslim girls are being banned from wearing hijab in schools. Modi's government fueled these state-level decisions. That's not secularism. That's discrimination. 9. Muslim activists and journalists are jailed. You get hit with the anti-terror law for free speech. 10. India is becoming dangerous for Muslims under his rule. Even the United Nations and Human Rights Watch have raised alarm. So the person asks the person who the right is to, why are you defending him? Ask yourself this: would you welcome a leader who promotes hate against your people? Somebody has put up another post and it says, Indian rape crisis, high cases, low conviction. The reality by the numbers: one rape is reported approximately every 60 minutes in India, according to the National Crime Record Bureau, NCRB. 2021, over 31,000 rape cases were reported. These numbers are widely believed to be underrepresented. The true scale due to stigma and police resistance. Conviction rates remain under 30% in many states, meaning the majority of the rapists walk free. Police bias and inaction: many survivors face hostility or dismissal when trying to file a report, especially if they are Dalit, tribal, or from other marginalized communities. Lengthy, underfunded trials: survivors often wait years for justice with little protection or support. Legal backlogs in a shortage of judges delays resolution. 3. Victim blaming culture: survivors of rape are shamed, questioned about their clothing or behavior, and pressure to withdraw complaints. 4. Political protection for perpetrators: high-profile rape cases often involve men with political or religious power who intimidate or bribe their way out of accountability. 5. Caste and class impunity: Dalit women are disproportionately targeted, and the justice system frequently fails to respond when caste elites are the perpetrators. The global implication: India is the world's largest democracy, but its failure to protect half its population undermines the legitimacy of its development narrative. Empowerment cannot coexist with epidemic-level violence against women. The issue is especially glaring when Indian political leaders try to lecture the world on morality, culture, or family values, while failing to protect girls in their own villages or allowing gang rapes to be live-streamed without swift prosecution. So those are persons who are having some concerns about the visit of PM Modi and the type of attention that he's getting from this government. I didn't write it. So then I remembered in 2012, when Kamala Prasad Bisesa was Prime Minister before, she received the Pravashri Bharatiya Saman from Pratibha Party, the President of India. And what that award is the highest Indian award for overseas Indians or an organization or institution established and run by overseas Indian diaspora constituted by the Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs, Government of India, in conjunction with the Pravashri Bharatiya Divas Overseas Indian Day. to honor exceptional and meritorious contributions in their chosen field and profession. The award is given by the President of India, and since 2016, the Government of India has doubled the number of awardees each year to 30 after a decision to grant the award once every 2 years. I know the last person I saw would have gotten one also is Justice Francie Prasad. But you hear that award is given to Indians. It's the highest Indian award overseas to Indians overseas who have done well. That is the India highest award. Our highest award in Trinidad and Tobago is not for Indians, it is not for Africans, it is not for Chinese or Syrian or Lebanese or white people, it is not for Christian or Muslim or Hindu or Rasta, Bobo Shanti, 7-day. You understand what just I'm making? It is for citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, despite color, creed, or race. So given, in my opinion, given Prime Minister Moody the Order of Trinidad and Tobago, which is for all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the highest award is not the same as the highest award in India, which is only for Indian people. And those are the things people are having challenges with, along with the stuff that I have read out that is happening in India today and has been documented. So when people continue to say, or would say, that the UNC is an Indian party, anybody could use this logically to reinforce that feeling. But we told you all, you all in business, all didn't care, all didn't like Rowley, and Rowley aggressor, Rowley is a dictator, we suffering, the country hard, Rowley is a dictator, Rowley arrogant, Rowley is a dictator, he arrogant, all that was the same. Who we seeing more arrogant and more dictator than the butcher? I just asking a question. If we want to talk about dictatorship, who we seeing as more dictator than them in the PNM right now, in the National Executive? Who more arrogant and more have dictatorship qualities or tendencies? You see, we're comparing. You can't compare one, and if you want to compare, you have to compare it based on something, right? So while all this is happening, the opposition senator, Faris Alwari, is thanking John Jeremy and apologizing to John Jeremy, the current AG, who used to be a PNM, who talking about he coming for who and who he was and all that. Faris Alwari is telling the AG, sorry for the things he would have said during the election and whatever. And I was like, what? We have to apologize to him for if it's during the election, speak on, however. Okay, the election done, take pong. But my boy is apologizing. And while he's apologizing, let me tell you what happened again. July the 2nd, Rural Development Company of Trinidad and Tobago let me see if it's this. Right. Rural development of 4,000 forestry workers have contracts terminated. Reference is made to the subject at caption at your agreement with the Rural Development Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited here under RDC, dated April 25th, 2023. Thereafter, referred to as the agreement, I'm directed to formally advise that pursuant to clause 15 of the agreement, your contract hereby terminated with immediate effect. In accordance with terms of agreement, payments in lieu of 30 days notice will be proceeded and remitted to you. So 4,000 workers again going. So that's 10 and 440. Then we have some Since the UNC came into office 2 months ago, 2 months and a couple of days ago, a rough calculation, probably about 20,000 workers have been sent home, but not out. So listen to this interchange between opposition senator. Opposition Senator John Jeremy, Foster Cummins.
Attorney General and the Cabinet's policy, just for the record, I want to state the generosity of my contribution. But I think, notwithstanding, this has nothing to do with any person, which quite a lot in debate. But the fact remains it's very possible in the future that someone who has attained the office of Prime Minister channels may assume office, and it's possible that person could catch an illness not willing to continue the office of Prime Minister. And I'm not at all suggesting anything about to mobilize after a year. It just there's a failed system for over a year. There can be some consideration as to, in those circumstances, what such a person will be entitled to. We spoke about the dignity of the office and maintaining the dignity of the office of Prime Minister. And therefore, someone in such a situation, cancer, patient, you name it, not to continue in office and should be given some consideration. And keeping with the amendment raised by the Senator, the question of accidents, things like that can happen. And while some of the government is trying to cure those things, I think, want to be seriously looked at, and it's not every day come to Parliament to make the Prime Minister's station.
Perhaps the time has come for us to look at the retiring allowances legislators act again, so that you don't only focus on prime ministers who will invariably be drawn from legislators, but what is before us, of course, and I noted carefully that you said, don't tie it to your words, but you said someone might come to office in the normal way. I heard it. I'm not saying anything about that, but I just want you to know that I heard what you said.
Right. That's what I wanted you all to hear. So all the nice talk that the opposition senator Foster Cummins would have spoken and made, that was his contribution towards the Prime Minister Pension Amendment Bill. He made a compelling argument, I think it was, that if somebody is a Prime Minister would have fallen ill before a year, within the time, what provision is going to be there for that person? Because they became ill, they can't function anymore. And John Jeremy he said somebody who was made the Prime Minister the right way, basically that. And John Jeremy hold on to that and found it interesting that he was saying made the Prime Minister the right way. So who was, in my opinion, the opposition senator trained that for? Because as far as we know, based on the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, Stuart Young was made the Prime Minister the right way because the Constitution allows for that. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago don't vote for a Prime Minister, they vote for a Member of Parliament. Who picks a Member of Parliament, a Prime Minister, is the members of Parliament of the party that is in office or has won the election. There was a caucus in Tobago, and out of the 21, 9 votes so, and the majority voted for Stuart Young. So there was a vote. Whether or not who brought up whoever, there was a vote, and if it's a blasted man, vote how the hell you want to vote, and nobody can tell you what to do. So the majority voted for Stuart Young. They came to Trinidad. They had a general council meeting to confirm that. The others who didn't vote for, they had the opportunity there to say, we're not voting for Stuart Young. We don't care what you Rowley say. We're in business with general council. All they didn't do that. All they fall in line and all they supported, or they can't blame nobody for that. Or they can't blame no, unless, in my opinion, or they had some type of agenda. They go through so, and they lose the election, go through everything on Rowley, and go through everything on Stuart Young. I just asking a question, that's an opinion I'm having. But all you decide. The Constitution was you say you can't throw the right way because no prime minister could be sworn in by the president if it's not done the right way, because then you're imputing wrong, in my opinion, you're imputing wrong motives to the president of this country. So Stuart Young was made a prime minister the right way based on the Constitution at Trinidad and Tobago. And my point I'm making is this. In their own little way, they could say what they want. They continue to throw shade at Stuart Young. It seems as if they're having a hate, and the hate continues. They're not stopping that. Because I understand in the convention, Stuart Young was there, was sitting in the audience, and they talked and nobody mentioned him. And you know why they could have? Because he was the former chairman. So if you're giving greetings, they say the former chairman, he was right there. So it's not because they want to say, call him, but he was the former chairman. No mention was made. The same how they treat Dominic Romaine. But they keep talking about bring back the love and come back together. You could come back together with them kind of thing. I said today on radio, I called in on radio today. I hope the person listening, because I don't like man who does take up woman panty. Let woman and woman talk out the thing or cuss out the thing. I don't like man who does get inside that. So I called on radio about my interaction that I had with Dr. Naim Gaspidoli. I may make up this. As I say again, there was a hate speech march in front of the parliament. Excuse me. When the Legacy call it, I don't know who is the original thinker in it, who they come up with the idea, me and all that. I know when the Legacy get permission for the march, we know the day, and usually it's PNM people who supported when the Legacy. I went to the march, we had petition for members of parliament, whether opposition or current PNM, to sign, to say they're against hate speech. There are some PNM ministers who told them no, they think and they go their way. That's some that sign. I think one or two opposition will have signed, others walk about. But my thing for mentioning Dolly Gaspy is in context of something. Because I didn't say she signed it, and no. It was in context, and my context was that when I went across in the parliament yard to approach her, to tell her what we're doing, she shut me down. She just walked away, and she walked away, and I was like, okay. When I went back across, Mr. Chance asked me what happened, Jen, and when I tell him, he said, what? And my thing, I'm mentioning just simply this. The person who we are out there to support was the lady vice chair of the Women's League. She was also the government thing of business, and the minister in the Ministry of Housing, I think it was, and a woman, Camille Robinson Regis. Dr. Naim Gaspy, that was her colleague. That is a woman. I felt somebody else might have feel that is no small, that is small thing. I felt that's your colleague. You can even support your colleague and just say, no, I'm not saying whatever. You just brush me off and you walk off. I felt offended by that. That is me. You who call on radio today, you can't tell me how to feel. I didn't say she's the only one didn't sign. I said how she treated the situation, and it was based on the fact that she is now the lady vice chair of the Women's League. That is why I have an issue. And her conversation has been very loose. In opposition, she talked about the children who fighting in school. It's PNM mother and grandmother and parents. She have a whole file, stack of file, and she does that say so. She's saying that in opposition now. She does get she more liberty to talk thing. And I encounter her elsewhere again. The same way she said in a women's league function, oh, the PNM have to empower women and all them kind of thing. And Camille Robinson rages, I remember, because I was like, what she talking about? How to get up and not ball up or not like that, no, but put it on record. The PNM has been the only political party that's always put women in places and high places. We have one, Miss Marion Gordon. Miss Marion Gordon was the youngest. And all the other women that you saw, Miss Tisha and this one, that one. So she was corrected. She have a way, she don't have all the information, and she don't just talk out. And now that they voted she in, the first time illegally, and this time through the election where everybody was complaining about, she seemed to get some up out to be talking a sort of foolishness. Talking about if you ain't basically, as summing it up, if you ain't fall in line with them, they would put you out the PNN. So either expel you or suspend you. So when I talk about her behavior, it's based on that. And we heard reports. I don't know how true it is. We heard reports or allegations how she's a deceased MP, Lisa Murray Julian. It is alleged. She's an ill-treated woman. It is alleged the woman needs to go and cry and complain to certain people about how she treats her. It is alleged. To just see her in the office in the Ministry of Education while I'm working, she had to make an appointment. So when I hear things like that, and I experience she coldness, and she talking out her timing, why I can't be concerned and say how I feeling to be calling to tell me that I think and this. Listen to me, mister. Whoever you want to join with and wherever, that is your business. You're entitled to that. Don't try to tell me how to feel and who to support. And my concern is she's not the right fit for the Women's League. Because she didn't stand up with one of her colleagues. Because Ms. Camille Robinson Reggie, on coming out her vehicle, came across us to have a conversation because she didn't know what was happening. Because it wasn't something we tell ministers, oh, we coming out there. And well, I know I didn't tell nobody nothing, so I do not know that. Mr. Fitzgerald Hines was Minister of National Security at the time, and Ms. Camille Robinson, they came across us and greeted us. That was your colleague, a woman who is the chairwoman of the Women's League, and you choose to just ignore and walk away. People who complain, they're calling and ready to talk thing and all who making thing and cussing whatever, them and all admit that she standoffish and she feels she does and she feels she that. But because now she's a party national executive and you must move on and don't leave that alone and whatever. All I want this thing to really get good. All I want this thing to get good. By continuously saying just move on and don't say nothing. No, let me just make up and think. That is why it does always fall apart. Because all they refuse to talk the thing. Let me talk the thing. It go have people feeling hurt, it go thing, whatever. Get that out the air. Or get that out the way. And then start the rebuilding. But all they want to rebuild on lies. The opposition leader bowling, come back home. But as we telling you, if you fall in line, they will throw you out and people clapping for that. So it's a call to the foreman. They say now she takes some speech from Dr. Ike Williams. I want to ask something. Why she couldn't take this speech? That was the place to talk them thing. Why she didn't take this speech? That's not. Yeah? Or they're too convenient. Or they want to cost. I'm not the SU. I don't have no contract. I can't give nobody no contract. I have nothing. I said, ordinary person. What are you cussing me for? To say what? I lying on somebody? The woman call. She's not friendly. If she's friendly with all it, I don't know not one about plenty people that's complain about that woman. So I don't know what they're playing on. Like if it's somebody lying on she, I know we only on she case. We on she case because she's the one talking a pack of shit right through. Now why you on she case? We want to pay them to be better. We want to come back better. But what are them going there? They not coming back no better. All the one people that just fall in line with all that. Really?
It was denied.
Why you can find this to talk about? Just give me a minute. I'll come to it just now. Give me a minute. Why you can find his speech from January 15th, 1956. when the PNM had an inaugural conference, and the People's Charter, the conference approved the People's Charter, hear what it say? We are not another of the transitory and artificial combinations of which you have grown accustomed in election years, or another bandwagon of dissident and disappointed politicians, each out merely to get a seat in the legislature. We stand or fall by our program, a comprehensive social security program for which general welfare of all the people of Trinidad and Tobago and their families. Nor are we an ordinary party in the accepted narrow sense of the word. We are really a rally, a convention of all and for all, of mobilization of all the forces in the communities, cutting across race, religion, class, and color, with emphasis on united action by all the people in the common cause. Why she couldn't read that? If they want to say that she reads something what Eric Williams say, why you couldn't read that? Because they want everybody to come back home, because that's what the political leaders say, instead of that you making war. And when people stand up against you with the shit you're talking, you have assholes are saying it as it is, calling to tell people shit how they should feel. Is she putting herself in a position? The opposition leader calling for peace. Penelope Becker's calling for peace. The political leader calling for peace, come back home. But you going up there and talking war. And when people talk about it, all want to call to tell people what they should say and shouldn't say, how they should feel. Nobody can tell me how to feel. I know how I felt when I dealt with her. She called, she standoffish. I don't know if she feels she pretend on everybody. I don't know. I hear somebody talk and say, I don't know how true it is. She says something about, but not now, sometime. I don't know how true it is. I just say, oh, people jealous his face and she teeth. Oh, come now, man, give people a break now. You really have to be, your head has to be full up in your ass. I'm saying it as it is. Because I'm damn vexed to be talking them stupidness if you say it. Talk about things to bring back people to heal. You're not the chairwoman of the Women's League. And then when people think, no, oh, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. That's how things just fall apart, by not saying nothing. Or they accuse Dr. Keith Christopher, they are all kind of things. And today, always the same people behaving worse than all they said Dr. Oli was behaving. Yeah? So you see like Oli was lying? Let me see all the way here on. They want to be boss. Them can't be no boss. Them just make woman look real bad. And make woman look like they can't lead. That kind of behavior is boss. So if people want to feel we on she case, you know why? She puts herself in position. She have an important role to play in the Women's League. Because the Women's League is where the women are the engine and the drivers of this people's national movement. And she can't drive nobody to do nothing proper with she behavior. Tell she, I say so. They could look to see if I remember PNM and they could, well, suspend and expel me. I don't give a shit. I don't want no office in PNM. Or they're running people, or they even over us, or they're running people, or they're making people dislike all them, and then the way how they continue to treat Stuart Young. Or they feel people in sin, or they're treating the man or what? The People's National Movement, Dr. Ike Williams said, no matter India, no matter Africa, no matter China, no matter Syria, no matter Lebanon, it's matter Trinidad and Tobago. And America can discriminate against the children. In the People's Charter, it talk about it has not no race and no class and all that, it's all people. But all they want to bring it to one people, some black man party. Keep all the blasted black man party to all the blasted self. It's not a black caucus in this country who can do so much for people. They collect people money, thing, all everything. And where gone? Where Anja gone? Eh? All the black, this and black, that all them thing gone. All they give me a break with this black man party. Eh? And the blackest man was the prime minister of this country, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, and all they treat him like a dog. Who was defending him and they call him rapists and all kind of thing? He was the blackest man. That was the man all they was supposed to stand up to if PNM is a black party. All they defend the man. All they fight down the man to the end. And worse yet now, all they saying he caused the election to thing and only blaming him for this and that. All they could all the bullshit for black party and all the treat Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, so the blackest man. So I'm on bounce up here watching. Hi Wayne. Hi Anon001. COS. Annette. Donna. Owen. The director. Cheryl. Let me see who I get. MH37. Who again? We have here. Hi David. Hi Raymond. Who again we have? Listen. Hi Richard. Ricardo Coca. The conversation will be hot here in order. Who again it have boy? Hi Val. Hi Sadina. Who again we have here? Thank you all for the support. I see 191 on Bounce Up. Thank you all so much. Although they say my show have no content, well, only probably watching a show that have no content. They always have a problem with me. I don't interfere with nobody. I just talk my thing, make my little joke, give me a little pound. People will pound me back. Me don't have a problem with that. What they have with me? Me have no big studio. Me don't know this nothing. I just do my little thing simple. Simple. What's the problem with me? Thank you all on the Bounce Up. Yeah, Mr. Gibson. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for your support. Let me see all you here now. They can see where they want yes, Papa. So hi Kim, Joel, Davison, Deborah, Gavin, Charles, Gunetta, Alice, Bernadine, Rudolph, Rudfin, Scotty, Zara, Dion, Jesse, Marilyn, Hayden, Cynthia, Dandy, Tessa, Sandra, Heather, Joy, Laurel, Big Wire, Anne-Marie, Jenny, Katian, Kalinda, Stewart, Jennifer, Brian, Phyllis, Kathleen, Christopher, Philomen, Balti, Shirley, Edward, Angela, Jennifer, Anne, Margaret, Cecilia, Angela, Ophelia, Hadara, Mary, Galen, Anton, Emmeline, and Sharon. I want to thank you all for staying up to and through me. Let me tell you something, That's why me can be in politics and them thing. Rasta don't really get herself involved in politics and them thing. I don't just play fast and thing in politics. You see me? I should stick to my little history, labor thing, wherever it is. Because not everybody deceitful and underhand thing. I don't have nothing against Dr. Which name? Nayan Gaspi Dolly. She's an educated woman. She PhD. But when it comes to politics, just like Ms. Jennifer Baptiste Primus, I'm a girl from Labour. Nobody can take away that from she. I guess she flowers in the Labour movement. I don't like she politics. It's the same thing with this woman. I don't like she politics and she behavior. Probably keep that for the lab or somewhere or some kind of thing. You can't be around, be around people, and it's so cold. You cannot be, and who want to tolerate it because they want to be a part of something and get something. That is not me. All they make, all their life, and all the big shit up, that's all the business has nothing to do with me. All they love the opposition leader, political leader, make all their life and big shit up, that has nothing to do with me. I not no move and no shake in the PNM. Make all their life and big shit up. Say what she got at, what she could do, what she was known. That's all the business has nothing to do with me. I am watching the scene and look, imagine your opposition Senator Faisal apologizing. We apologizing to that man for the AG for. Is this all a new style of government now that just say no and just agreeing with the opposition because all they don't want to look as if all they get in trouble? Well, then we have opposition for. They just have a government. When the opposition do, all they have to hold them in check. And this conversation about you ain't talking and you ain't running behind. No, listen, Parliament has to talk and you have to defend the people. Because look what happened now, almost about 20,000 people fired. PM to remind people, calling them the butcher, he happy with that, it look like. But stupidness all the time, I apologizing to this one, I ain't talking now, and this Sophie, and what is about? But if I feel Eric Eustace Williams will make all them mash up the People's National Movement. You hear what he's saying, the people shatter, the PNM is not an ordinary party in the sense that you would know. If all they feel, the ancestors and them who build the People's National Movement, and the stalwarts and them who still there to educate. Go let all them mash up. The People's National Movement, they work hard to build, all they work hard to build nothing. Gaspian work hard to build PNM. Faisal Warren work hard to build PNM. Marvin Gonzalez work hard to build PNM. None of them didn't work hard to build PNM. They may have been members of parliament in a ministry. But when it comes to the dog work to work hard to build PNM, them build it. So they can want to come and destroy things just because all they hate by. And all they telling people will come back home and it's love. That is not love, they hate by. What's all they teaching the new members of parliament? Member of Parliament Camille Marcel, Member of Parliament Hans Evine, Member of Parliament Chris Birchwood, Member of Parliament Dominic Romain. What are they teaching them? That is not the PNM way. Again, I say, my interaction is my interaction, and I could interpret it the way I felt. Nobody can tell me not to feel so. And I say that again. People know it as a fact. People that say the woman is cold. She don't talk to nobody. She just look down at you. She feels she better than you. All she doing is dressing and the thing in and feel she nicer than this one. That's what people have been saying. I saw, let me tell you something. I saw that woman coming for the PNM October affair, September affair, whatever the case is. I go say this and leave this here very controversially. To me, I find what she had was inappropriate for a minister and a woman matron. A short black dress, it's above she knee, fitted. And then a long see-through chover cape, black with white at the side, and a long trail. And it opened to the front. So you see all she leg things and all the thing, whatever it is. I thought that was inappropriate as a member of parliament. That's when they go in a private thing, whatever it is. And thinking up she stuff and thinking she said, let them say I lie. Because them and all say it's inappropriate. People was there watching, she like, where's all that? Where's all that? Where's all that? So let me say again, she going to talk that too. She going to be the chairwoman of the Women's League, you know, they understand where's the Women's League. What's she going to teach them young ones and them? Not the older ones so much who don't settle away. What's she going to teach them young ones and them? What's she going to teach them? They know the history, anything with PNM. Somebody, Harvey Boyce, I think, called her about, oh, she was there with her father and mother was PNM thing, and she was in the car, 10 years old, and on the mic and all that. Let me tell you something, Mr. Boris, with all due respect. My mother was in the People's National Movement since I was small. When I was about 10 or 11 years old, Mrs. Marilyn Gordon became our member of parliament for Ruka. Before that was Hector McLean. And anyway, my mother going, she pulling me because them old time people living a girl child with nobody. So she had to go meeting in the night. I had to go with she in all them cottage meeting all over. Motorcade, we on the big truck. It used to be big truck, Mutila Muna truck, and then we used to stand up on the back of the truck with some older ones than we, and we motorcade. When it's time to put up the poster, we used to make the flower pack, and we go in and stick up poster all along in Five Rivers, all along Aruka, all along by Capel, and go right down the road, all kind of thing. So would that mean to say we was big in PNM? That mean everybody gonna know we in PNM? But once you was a child of a member, your family member was in the PNM, you as a child had to be there too. So you mentioning the fact that when she was 10 years old, she was in the car, on the mic. What that say? That don't tell me she's just come in the PNM in terms of politically having a ministry. Anybody know anything about she from 10 years old and know any PNM? So in order defense of the woman, nothing wrong in defending her, but defend the right thing now, man. She's the only person was there young in the PNM, moving with the mother and father, all that. That mean to say that it a long time. But then I did longer than she. Because I was 10 or 11 years old when Miss Marilyn God became the representative of Aruka. After Mr. McLean would have followed to the PNM and went across to wherever party they go across to. So what? People, You all stop this foolishness and stop being afraid to talk what bothering all you. That ain't gonna make nothing mash up. What will make things mash up is gonna let keep things inside and keep lying and want to intimidate people and have them think. The best thing to do is talk how you're feeling. And I'm saying it again, just like how I was saying, the opposition leader weak. That is my opinion. She's a political leader now. I can't do nothing about that. The woman is the honorable political leader and opposition leader. Me can't do nothing about that. It is what it is. But I haven't changed my opinion that she's weak. It's the same thing I'm saying with Dolly Gaspie. I find that she cold, and I don't think she could bring anything of substance to the Women's League. I interact with her, and then I see her behavior. She don't talk to nobody, really. She's passive straight, no matter if they're close to she or not. That is a fact. I don't know if she does talk to other people. I wouldn't know. I'm not saying I want you to talk to me. That's not the issue. I just sit down and observe scene. Before I start to make my life and things, sometimes I just watch the scene first to see how I think, and I watch it in my van. Right? So I talk from that perspective. Who don't like it, don't take woman panty to come to play. You want to jump in to call my name and Jennifer this and whatever. I just don't want to call in because I don't want to get in that kind of drama talk and all that kind of thing. But you know who you are, you call on 95.5 this evening. Don't call to defend shit. Because I know what it is I experience. You can't tell me what I experience. I'm not interested in who is who is the one responsible for the march and who then signed and all that. That's not what I was talking about. So don't play fast with foolishness. People, I love you all. Keep talking, UNC in power, stop hating. Ariel Fabian, I don't know what he's referring to, but don't tell me what to talk about on my live. Go on UNC live, go on everybody live and tell them what to say, how to say, and when to say, right? This is called Let Me Talk the Ting. This is my program. And if you don't understand the context in what I speak in, then move along, my darling. No love lost, okay? And I still love you, my darling. So people, you all, how come Chambers was allowed to lead the party after Dr. Williams? Nobody fought him. And that's the point I'm making, Miss Emmeline. But it's like it's a hatred for Stuart. You know, I tell myself, they're insecure. And they see the way how Stuart does perform and could work, and they know them can work hard. So it's a jealousy and an insecurity. That's all. That's my opinion. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but I did enough psychology at UWI that I can have an opinion. I can have an opinion on things. I think it's jealousy and insecurity that had him behaving so against Stuart because his work ethics and his success is what must be bothering them. People, I love you all. I don't have to deal with anything, darling. I don't want to just come on people's lives to play. I don't want to challenge them. I don't have to deal with anything. UNC in office, I'm not interested in UNC. UNC can't take this country nowhere. That is a fact. UNC had 10 to 15, they didn't do nothing but bring this country into a recession. UNC can't take we nowhere. All this shenanigans and thing is reflecting. They haven't told us up to now how they're going to raise revenue and stuff to pay workers when the man come to pay bills to do nothing. They ain't talk nothing about that. Or every day is a distraction and background because that's all UNC is about with this PM1. So the UNC have a natural conclusion to it. So I don't have to deal with it. It's not me I have to deal with it because it's not me that lay off from work. It's not me that do this. It's not me. It's the unfortunate people and workers who they keep laying off have to deal with this incompetent UNC because that's what they are. And they win this election not because so much people vote for them. It's because people just didn't go out and vote for the PNM. And PNM only needed 15,008 votes. You want some data, darling? PNM only needed 15,008 votes. They would have been back in office, even if they had lost St. Joseph. They didn't need 100,000. So I just tell you, UNC win by default. That's what I have to begin also right to because they know the population reject them really. Yeah? Have a blessed night, darling. Love you all. See you all on Friday. Go spend a comment something fresh, something new. This is the girl Jen Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. If you want to get formal, Miss Jennifer Frederick, another edition, Let Me Talk the Ting. I'm gone. Love all the bad, those on bounce up. Let me talk the thing. Yeah? Yes, they win by default, darling. But they don't want to talk that. That is facts the PNM supposed to be bringing now to say why it is PNM lost the election. You can't just simply say it's Dr. Rowley and Stuart because they call the election early. That makes no sense. Because the election is 2025, everybody did know. Where was the PNM machinery? Where was the marketing of the PNM? Huh? And everybody just talk and say, oh, the Prime Minister does have the election dates in the back pocket, meaning it could call anytime in the election year. And they called just 3 months before. That what made the PNM loss. Why don't talk about the people who was going in the communities and telling people to vote for PNM? That is not a factor also. Why is not a factor that the election committee or the election machinery and that didn't do the job proper? Why that not a factor? Why the marketing part of it, to have a good song, have a this, have a that, have a team, why that wasn't happening? All about social media and all that. Why that can be a part of the PNM was the election? But all they don't want to just stick it on the black man, or they say it's a black party, the black man. Or they want to drag the man right through, and the Chinese Indian man. But PNM is for everybody. Well, have a blessed now. I love all you. See you all on Friday, God's Spirit, everyone. And bounce up. Love you all so much. Thank you for the support as usual.
When it comes to caring, sharing, and achieving, woman is boss. Oh, yeah, yeah. Rush up tonight. I want every woman to put your money where your mouth is. The sky is the limit where we are concerned. On this rock, we come out good. Love and respect is all that we earn. You'll be amazed what we could give in return. Fight for sweet woman, changing cost without remorse. Woman is boss. When it comes to quality, production, and dignity, woman is boss. Oh yeah, yeah. Who vex loss, pressure. One more time. Oh yeah. Who's the boss? Who's the boss? The boss. Trinidad, your woman is boss. West Indian woman is boss. Tobago woman